The only two certainties in life are death and taxes. Today we're talking about taxes, more specifically property taxes and land transfer taxes. Yes, a riveting topic like no other. But this is one you may want to stick around for if you own property in Toronto or are considering purchasing your first home or a new home. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about real estate news across Canada with an emphasis on the city of Toronto. My name is Macallum and I am the leader of a real estate team here in the city of Toronto, and we specialize in residential resale, pre-construction, and leasing. If you find this video informative or you learn anything at all I ask is that you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. These actions really help push this video to others like yourself looking to learn more about the Canadian and Toronto real estate markets. And if you'd like to book a buyer consultation, listing consultation, or just a general call to chat about the market, you can go to the description of this video where you can book a meeting directly into my calendar. This is a very rare occasion because I'm going to be referencing an article which is not about getting clicks, but it's more about getting the right information out to people. A few days ago, the president of TRREB, the Toronto Real Estate Board, wrote a public letter to John Tory urging the city to reevaluate the imposed land transfer tax. You probably didn't hear about this letter, which is why Stories, a Toronto real estate news source, published a well-informed article. Before we get into the weeds here, we first need to talk about what land transfer taxes are. Every time I have a buyer consultation with a prospective client, I always talk about land transfer taxes. Most of the time, the prospective buyer, especially if they're a first-time buyer, has no idea what this tax is. So what is the land transfer tax? Or actually, what are the land transfer taxes? Because lucky us in Toronto, there are two. There is a provincial and a municipal land transfer tax. When you buy a home in Ontario, you pay one tax to the government for transferring land. If, for example, you buy a home in Mississauga for $1 million, you will pay the government $16,475. When you buy a home in Toronto, you pay both the provincial and municipal taxes. If, for example, you buy a home in Toronto for $1 million, you will pay the government almost $33,000. If you are a first-time buyer, you are eligible for a rebate of a maximum of $4,000 for the provincial tax and just under a maximum of $4,500 for the municipal tax. Sounds great, right? A rebate for first-time buyers. Stick around and I promise I'll show you how first-time buyers are drawing the short end of the stick against the government. Now that we've gone over the basics of land transfer taxes, let's get into the open letter to John Tory. The City of Toronto is increasing property taxes, which TRREB agrees with. Toronto has historically had low property tax rates compared to other surrounding jurisdictions, so a hike was almost inevitable. What TRREB nor I agree with is increasing the municipal land transfer tax. At surface level, the land transfer tax is a mandatory payment which we as Torontonians just accept and pay. But this tax has hidden impacts on our housing system, not just our pockets. An option proposed is increasing the municipal land transfer taxes for what the government calls a luxury property. The funny thing is, though, luxury is subjective. I believe the luxury threshold in the proposal is $2 million, so let's stick with that number. The average sale price of all home types from condos to detached homes was just over $1 million in December. We can't reasonably consider luxury to be only double the price of the average Toronto home. That's a little besides the point, though. The open letter states, Council should be wary of any policy move that could interrupt households' regular progression through the housing market over time and reduce the supply of homes for sale, which is Toronto's biggest housing affordability challenge. This is such an important point because increases beyond the current tax could discourage move-up buyers from listing their current homes for sale. Anecdotally, I've talked to countless of homeowners over the years who were thinking about selling and moving into a larger property, but elected to stay put because of the land transfer tax. Those homeowners were better off building an addition or improving their home to be comparable to what they were considering purchasing. That right there challenges our inventory levels. Studies have been conducted by C.D. Howe Institute and U of T, which show that the municipal land transfer tax discourages homeowners from listing their homes for sale, with many households choosing to renovate instead. According to these studies, each year, the municipal land transfer tax reduces housing availability to homebuyers by 16%. As promised, now we'll get into how first-time buyers are being taken advantage of by the government. The municipal land transfer tax rebate was designed to ensure that it reflected the average price of residential properties in Toronto. Believe it or not, in 2008, when the average Toronto property was $415,000, buyers were almost completely exempt from paying any municipal land transfer tax. This is because the rebate was allowed up to a maximum of a $400,000 home, meaning there was only a $15,000 difference between $400,000 and the average price, which was $415,000. In just 14 short years, the average price of residential real estate in Toronto increased $725,000 to $1.14 million. Interestingly, the first-time buyer rebate is still only allowed to a maximum of $400,000, which was near the average price in 2008. However, it is nowhere near the average price today. This rebate has not kept up with its original intention. Today, first-time buyers purchasing their first home in Toronto at the average price of $1.14 million are paying almost $15,000 in municipal land transfer taxes on top of the $15,000 provincial land transfer tax, totaling a little over $30,000 in taxes just to purchase a home. To recap this video with my thoughts, increasing the land transfer taxes on luxury homes is detrimental to our housing supply and growth within the market. It deters homeowners from moving because the cost can outweigh the benefits in a lot of cases. The municipal land transfer tax needs to be reevaluated because it's not in line with the original goal anymore of providing relief to first-time buyers. What I don't believe is discussed often enough is the fact that most first-time buyers are not purchasing the average Toronto home for $1.1 million. They instead are starting with a $600,000 condo. The total land transfer tax amount for a $600,000 condo with the first-time buyer rebate is just under $8,500. My goal is to educate and help prospective buyers and sellers, so I hope you learned something new about real estate taxation in the City of Toronto and Ontario. If you're looking to learn more about the government potentially banning blind bidding, click the video here. And if you would like to set up a call to chat about real estate, there's a link in the description of this video where you can book a meeting directly into my calendar.